So I've been covering sports for a little over 20 years now, and I've seen a lot of athletes come and go. The good thing is that now more of our athletes are able to continue their sports career at the collegiate level and also get an education because, you know, now that the support is there with, I think, more and more coaches that come back and give their time, players that have moved on and gained experience stateside have came back to share their stories and experiences and kind of like, I guess, inspire the new generation of talent we have here locally. Well, I think, you know, back in the days, a lot more athletes were, I want to say, a little bit more on the competitive side. I see nowadays, you know, everybody's friends, so when it comes to competition, yeah, they're a little bit more fierce, but then you see that friendship, which is, it can be a good and a bad thing because, you know, when you're an athlete and you're out there, you're really competing and, you know, you put all friendships aside, right? So I think, you know, back in the days, it might have been a little bit more fierce and, you know, not to say these athletes nowadays aren't as hungry, but I think it's just, you know, a little bit more cutthroat back in the days. Well, I think, you know, being an athlete, your competitive nature takes over. So a lot of kids, that's their way of getting out their anger and frustration, right? I mean, you're focused on your sport, you're trying to help your team win. I think overall, you know, this pandemic has really affected a lot of these athletes. Well, I think nowadays coaches are more relatable to their athletes. You know, these athletes are able to talk to their coaches on a more personal level, right? So if there's any problems at home, I'm sure the coaches out there are willing to hear. I mean, for myself, coaching sports at the youth level, I think I've always tried to be that person that they can talk to, right? Because all it takes is conversation. You know, there might be a lot of weight hanging on their shoulders and something they need to get off their chest, and conversation goes a long way. I mean, when you look at it, right, so I think sports is the balance of physical and mental health because when sports, you're taught to socialize and teamwork, right? So it becomes more than just you. And I think that's when it plays a role, right? When you have too much time alone and you think too much, you tend to overthink and, you know, what's not going right, what's going wrong, rather than when you're in a sport, you're on a team, you're thinking of how can I better my performance and how can I help my team win. So sports, I think, is really an outlet for kids to take their minds off the negativity, right? Because sports is something positive where as an athlete, you're able to produce, you're able to have friends and families cheer for you. And that's another great feeling, right? When you're praised and applauded for something great you do.